Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen, and every week I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things intuition. Through personal stories, experiences, and practices, offering energetic reflections to help you discover, connect, and fully realize how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to March 2023. Pretty remarkable. Is it? Is it remarkable? That time continues to flow. March on. Time marches on to March. Maybe it's not remarkable, but to me, it feels pretty remarkable that it has only been 2 months of this new year, of our new calendar year, because so much has happened. It feels like so much has shifted. I know that for me, I feel like really blessed to have had like such a great start to the new year, even though there have been a lot of kind of emotionally taxing times. My cat Bandit got a little bit sick, but luckily nothing horrible, nothing fatal, and just something with his hormones. And he's been great. We got the medication for him. It's been a month now and his levels are good. And it doesn't look like he needs to be even on the medication anymore. And that is not what that was not what I thought would happen. I was trying not to kind of worry too much, impossible, especially with my cats, or cat now. But of course, the worry was coming a little bit because my mind was kind of creating meaning out of the timing, because it was the very similar timing of when my beloved Bo, my other cat, became sick last year. So the timing was almost exactly the same, because he was sick for about a month while we were trying to figure out what was going on. And then he got really sick. And then it was only like 2 days and we had to let him go. And that was on March 5th. Not having that happen with Bandit, not having the same circumstance, felt really healing to have a very similar scenario, similar timing, but have a completely different outcome. And that was a big lesson for me, to really trust the energy of the present. Because so often I can look to, and I feel like I've talked about this many times on the podcast, I can look to my past for evidence, right? For evidence of things working out, for evidence of my resiliency, and for my ability to kind of move through tough situations. But sometimes if I look too far or too closely at things that have happened in the past, I can kind of create superstition and meaning out of it that is not based in reality. And that is really one of the most incredible things for me about trusting and having such a deep connection with my intuition, because I can differentiate between whether it is the energy of the present or if it's my worry, fear, and, my tender heart creating something from energy of the past. So there really is countless invaluable ways that connecting to our intuition, understanding the language that it speaks to us, which is always evolving as long as we're alive, and most likely afterwards as well, that it offers so much to our lives are in our ability to, guide ourselves and lead ourselves, especially when you're listening to something like this episode, the energy impressions. Because for March, I am offering you again the energy impressions that I'm kind of feeling into for us, for the listeners of Intuitive Seek. But it's not, as I've said before, but I'll say it again because I do have some new listeners that I noticed over the past month. Just a little bump in listeners, which I am always so grateful for. So thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And one of the main things about these energy impressions is that they're not meant to be predictive. It's not about listening to my, channeling of the energy for the month. I'm not being your oracle. I'm here reflecting the feelings, allowing my intuition to kind of speak to me about the energy of the month with the intention of whatever I offer to you can kind of spark your own intuition. So even if you don't resonate specifically with what I'm saying, it could kind of give you a little light bulb moment of, oh, that reminds me of this and that. Oh, that makes so much sense. Like that's what I hear from many of you about the energy impressions, that for sure that they resonate, but there's a little piece, something that you needed to hear that sparked your intuition to offer you so much clarity and help guide you through the month to navigate, because there will always be unexpected things. We cannot control or prepare for the exact itinerary of the month, if you want to call it that, because every one of us are choosing something multiple times a day. And those choices bring us to the next thing and the next choice. So there are so many variables to how our lives unfold. We are but a small part, a small piece of it. But with these energy impressions, they can help you feel more grounded and more clear and more connected to your inner guidance, your inner compass. So I really hope that these energy impressions help to make you feel empowered, that help you step into your power, that help you really trust how you're feeling and in the choices that you want to make. That's my highest hope for it. And before I get into the energy impressions, how many times can I say that? We will see. Before I get into them, I do want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has booked one of my intuitive distant healings. They are a new offering. I kind of took it as a standalone service from my 4-month experience of working together that I call the Key, which is really kind of an intensive kind of boost of healing and transformation. So you can really kind of move into what you want to do. That's what the Key is for, and where you want to go and how you need to and want to understand certain aspects of your energy that maybe you really weren't aware of before. But I had past clients ask me if I could do that distant healing for them on just a standalone service. And a few people asked, and then a few people asked again, and then a few more. And then I thought, okay, let me put this actually like on my website, because I really enjoy doing it. And just the feedback and, the testimonials of it are just so beautiful. So it's one of my favorite things to do. So if you haven't kind of looked at those or thought about them or are curious about it, just go to where you're listening to this, to the show notes, and click on the distant healing and look into it. See how you feel about it. And just a little extra additional explanation for any new listeners to these energy impressions, the way that I do them is I offer how my intuition spoke to me about how to kind of speak to the reflection of the energy of the month. And I do that in many different ways. Sometimes it's with words, sometimes it's with kind of something that has been kind of placed and seen in my mind's eye that gave me some lovely meaning to offer you. And then just some true kind of thoughts and feelings and reflections. So everything that I say, take what you need, leave the rest, and really trust how you feel about it and what it makes you think of and makes you remember. And yeah, see what is sparked. So let's dive into the energy for March 2023. So March is an exciting month. If you follow any astrology accounts on, social media, you may see, or if you are an astrologer or astrologist, you may see there are so many things happening that people are really excited about. I am not an astrologer, but I will say when you do learn about it, read about it, kind of hear about these things, make sure that it is being something that is supporting you and it's not leading you. Something that is helping you kind of remember or feel more kind of assured in what you're already doing, but don't allow it to govern what you're doing. Because every one of us has such a unique experience. And similar with these energy impressions, each one of you are going to be receiving these in a completely different way. And that is the purpose. We are all meant to do something different. And our intuitions work in different ways. So really trust yourself and try not to, I guess this is what I'm trying to say. When there is so much chatter around big kind of astrological events, what I've noticed is it can really take our power away from ourselves. We can start kind of feeling like we're missing something. So just be aware of that. Don't get kind of swept away by any deep dives into specific astrological transits or something like that, because that can happen. I've seen it happen. So trust yourself, be excited and inspired by all of the beautiful tools that help guide and support our own intuitions, but don't trade your inner leader for an outer leader. Yeah. Okay. So having said all of that, let's dive into March 2023 for real this time. Okay. So the two words came immediately that I thought of. And March is going to be a really exciting month because a lot of things, I felt a lot of energy and a lot of excitement and a lot of movement. And the two words that came were contradictory, but they made sense to me because the first one was insurmountable and the second one was unstoppable. And insurmountable, that means not being able to do something. That's when something is too great to overcome. But unstoppable, that actually means that it is literally impossible to prevent or stop. So even if something may seem insurmountable, if you are moving to overcome it, then it's impossible to stop. So those two contradictory things really made me feel like, oh, there are some beautiful opportunities for some real magic, like some real miraculous, surprising, unexpected things. But they may only be available as long as we are taking action, as long as we are doing the creating as well, as long as we're here, really being aware of what we are doing, consciously moving forward, but being led from our intuition. So even if something feels completely too great to overcome, too great to do, impossible, if you're leading yourself and really following your pull from your intuition, then it is impossible to stop. It's impossible to prevent you from doing it. And I feel like that kind of contradictory energy is really helping us to get very clear on what we want, but in the present. Just like I was speaking about at the beginning, where I was kind of over the last month being really taught to come back to the present moment, to the present energy. And I feel like that's what conflict, when two things aren't really fitting together perfectly, that's when we can learn the most about what we want and the direction we want to take and all the things, all the answers. But then I felt, oh, there's kind of a different energy too. Something more fun, more playful. And my intuition showed it to me through my imagination as a flower blooming with our little inner child inside, like an Anne Geddes. Flowers for spring in the Northern Hemisphere. Groundbreaking. Little Devil Wears Prada reference for you. But no, flowers for spring for sure, especially this way, because that to me was a beautiful kind of metaphor for that, like the secret, special pollen for us to be able to create more flowers, to bloom, to really bring to life what we are wanting to bring to life this year. It's getting, the momentum is starting to really pick up for March. But one of the secrets to that momentum is really connecting to our child selves, to the fun and play and laughter and excitement and interest and curiosity and awe, to all of those things that are so easily lost in our adult world and in the modern world. So this month, I really hope that you can feel into that playful, fun, lighter side of your energy. Allow that to guide you. And don't worry if maybe it feels a little too easy. Maybe it feels a little too natural. Trust the fun and the playful and the light to really help you create and take advantage of that momentum. Because then when I really felt into the energy even deeper, in a deeper way, I felt like, okay, I love and feel quite inspired by that contradictory energy, by being aware of it. And then also of our child selves. That felt really true. But I wanted a clearer picture, something that would really help inspire us to kind of move in the direction of our highest good for this month. And this is what it felt like. It felt like for the past while, our reflection, what we are able to see for ourselves and for where we're going, it was like a pool of water that was never standing still. It was never calm enough to be a true mirror. The ripples were constant for the last while. And when they calmed, we could really see ourselves much clearer than before. And we could see, oh, that's where we want to go. That's who I am. That's what I like. But then maybe a pebble or a hand came and created more ripples again, totally confusing our vision, confusing the vision of ourselves, but also of everything around us. And this really feels like kind of an image or a symbol of how much we have been adapting to constant interruptions in all aspects of our lives. And that feels very energetic, like energetic interruptions of moving this way, going this way, doing something, and then, oh no, wait, oh no, now it's different. Confusion and then clarity, confusion and then clarity. And now the experience of that has helped us to be able to see ourselves and the world around us, to really see what is being reflected. We can see clearly. But the way we've adapted from all of that is that now we can see clearly, even through the ripples, even through the uneven path before us. We don't need it to stand still and have like perfect conditions for us to be able to see. And this feels like a new ability that we have earned. And that is here, perfectly timed for March, for this fresh start. And that really feels like how we should be looking at the month ahead. What else have we gained that enables us to keep going when the path in front of us is not smooth? Is it kind of new levels of self-trust? Is it understanding ourselves in a new way, new perspective? Is it a totally new inspiration, new levels of clarity, regardless of if we feel like it's possible? Because for me, the most exciting thing about the energy impressions for March is the intuitive animal that is inspiring the overarching theme of March. And it's an animal that I've never connected to or thought of or felt in a meditation before, ever, for anything, not just for these, for anything. So it felt really special. And to me also, that was a symbol of that it's so new. That was a symbol of how new the energy is for March, of what a clean, fresh slate it is, even if it doesn't look clean or fresh. It's renewed. And the animal was a roadrunner, not the animated character, but the literal roadrunner bird, the one it was based off of. And if you've never seen a roadrunner, you have to Google it because they're very cute and really interesting. They're not giant. They're quite, small, but wow, they do a lot. They're amazing. And right away, I felt that childlike, fun, laughter, lightness from the roadrunner, but also the speed and agility. So this really felt like, oh, for March, like if we shift our thought process, if we kind of fuel it with remembering the agility of our ourselves, but not only our, physical bodies, but our mental agility too. That may really help us navigate the month. But it might be calling us out a little bit too. Because if we have kind of an opportunity for speed and mental agility and movement and, getting somewhere quickly in a new way, we might resist that. So that may be the question too of, are we procrastinating or stalling on pursuing our dreams? Because one of the coolest things about the Roadrunner is that they are one of the very few animals who actually prey on rattlesnakes. They're only 22 inches long or high. I think long for a bird. That's about 56 centimeters. And they're one of the few animals that prey on rattlesnakes. And that to me inspired me to think of this amazing Roadrunner and bring it into our month as remembering that our fear can stop us in our tracks. But is what we're scared of really dangerous? Or is it actually what's going to feed us? What is the rattlesnake in your life that you're afraid to go after? That is meant to feed you? And maybe that is literal, maybe feed you with money, but maybe it's also feeding your spirit, your creative spirit, feeding your heart, feeding your being, feeding your life. What is that rattlesnake? Because I think in March, that's going to be a very, very prominent focus. And then the other thing that really inspired me about the Roadrunner is that they patrol their territory very securely. They protect it. Sometimes they're alone, and sometimes they work in pairs. They're monogamous. Their feet have an unusual shape for a bird. They're actually in the sign of an X. So right away, because they are so territorial and able to protect, that feels like, all right, March, we need to really focus on, like, great inspiration for this. Important all the time, but great idea for this month. Focus on your boundaries, maintaining your boundaries energetically, but also physically. Maybe re-examine what you need, how much space you need. Examine how much you're giving yourself and your energy away. Because that's also a way that we disempower ourselves. But you can reclaim your energy by really kind of committing to where your boundaries are. And then I loved the X of their feet when I was reading about them, because that is one of the main things about connecting with animals this way, is looking at how they act in the wild, because there is beautiful inspiration there. So their feet are in an X, which is not common. And right away, that felt like, yes, March is showing us that we are exactly where we are meant to be. That X marks the spot, reminding us that we don't have to be anywhere else to have what we need that will carry us to the next thing we're desiring, or the next step on our path, the next decision to make. Because remember, wherever you go, there you are. So if you and we are not paying attention to the present energy and all we have gained and learned and adapted to and understood over the last while that have brought us to here, to March 2023, we may be clinging to something that is not serving us for where we are meant to go next. We may be thinking that we don't have everything we need to be able to take that next step or do that next thing. Or finally realize the inspiration that you had, and that could be inspiration from 10 years ago. But it might be time now. So for March, it really feels like the Roadrunner is reminding us that everything that we have learned and gained and uncovered and discovered are with us. We have it. The wisdom is with us, and it has been growing. So where are you going to bring yourself and all your treasure to? If I said, what are you procrastinating or resisting? What's the first thing you think of? And then what if I said, okay, that thing you thought of, that's actually going to bring you what you want. That's your rattlesnake. That's going to feed you, but it's not going to be comfortable. But you have the mental agility. You have the speed. You have everything you need to do everything you want. And that's the most exciting thing about March. That it is a true marching forward, marching on, a new level of fresh perspective and energy. And if you're not feeling that fully, I'm going to offer you one exercise to do. It's a physical thing. And then see how you feel after that. So pick a drawer or a closet, something in your house or apartment that is not organized, something that is taking up that mental space that you probably aren't even aware of, but something physical in your space that if you could open it and see it organized and cleared out and clean, you would be amazed and very happy. So just choose one and set your timer. This is something that I have heard many people that like create habits, and it is such a great idea. Set the timer and see how long it takes you. But commit to 1 hour. Give yourself an hour and do it slowly. And see if it takes an hour, because it most likely will not. And you will be quite surprised at how short it actually took. And then see how you feel. See what happens when you create physical space in your environment, how that can reflect some space in your energy, in your mind, in your body. Kind of a new view of that spring cleaning, or spring in the northern hemisphere at least. Because when I saw the picture of the Roadrunner and also thought about that X of the foot, X marks the spot, it really reminded me that so much of the time, for me personally, I thought I didn't have what I needed or wasn't in the space or place that I needed to be to do the thing or get the thing that I wanted or create the thing. But what I found out is that, well, literally, when I do that cleaning out exercise, I tend to find things that I didn't know I had, totally forgot, and I actually needed and didn't have to buy and was excited to have. So that's like literally could happen. You could have already what you need or what you're desiring. You could already have it and have completely forgotten about it. But also, the energetics of that are that you create the space in your environment with your hands, with your action, with your commitment to clearing out even a small little drawer. You're showing yourself that, oh, actually, it's just my actions that will create the change. It doesn't matter how much I think about it. I could think of that drawer that I cleared out, and I did for as long as I wanted. It was still going to be cluttered until I got up and physically did it. So it doesn't matter how much we plan if we don't actually take any steps towards or with that plan. And this month feels like we can lose those opportunities by not trusting ourselves to act. And I hope that you can trust yourself enough to act. And if that's feeling overwhelming, go to the last episode of my self-healing meditation that I just put out. I've had beautiful feedback for it already. I love it. And that will help kind of ground and clear and support your energy so that any of the overwhelm that maybe you felt while I was saying that will move out of the way for you to really feel that clarity on what's ready to start. So thank you. Thank you for listening to the March Energy Impressions. I really cannot express enough of how much I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time, for spending your precious time with me. So once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. I would love to hear if you resonated with the energy that I'm feeling and moving through for March. And if you have any thoughts or questions or want to share anything, please don't hesitate to contact me and message me. You can do it through my website, treenlight.com, or best way is through my Instagram. Follow me and send me a message at treenlight, TREENLIGHT. And if you're curious about working with me, I always offer a free clarity session to chat, just a quick 30-minute chat to see how I can support you. Just a great consultation to see if we'd be a good fit. It's easy to book through my website. In the show notes, I'll leave all the links that you need there. And you'll also find a link to sign up for my Lighthouse letter, which I send out every 2 weeks if you haven't already. Hugely appreciate if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel called to give some support, then please share this episode with a friend. Or you can also leave a review, which is always very generous. So thank you. Be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful. Cat.